change. I mean, I don't know, change is not necessarily good or bad, but a lot of us avoid it. There's some people that entirely avoid change, and then there's some people that want to change so much in a small period of time. Or if anything, they don't even think that they're changing at all. I mean, change is such a crazy thing because you are naturally changing just by being a person. I don't know, it's crazy to think, but you are a combination of changes. Your present self is just every life experience that has come to you. You are the product of that. You are from those changes. And it's crazy how we don't realize how much we've changed as people. I mean, you look back at old photos of yourself and you're like, oh my God, I've changed so much. But those are like physical things. You know, you can change from last week. You can be in like a very different person than you were last week. And it's hard to acknowledge it if we don't really look back and understand how different things were or how different that we felt. Uh, Personally, I feel like it's a lost message if we can't go back and look at ourselves in the past and see if we're doing the right thing or if we're doing the wrong thing. I mean, our combination of change is it's from us doing good things that have worked in our favor and from us failing and doing bad things that really weren't in our favor. As we grow and as we, just expand out to this place that we honestly want to be in, we realize that change is there. You can't really avoid change. And gonna it's gonna suck to even try to avoid change because naturally you are change. Another idea that I've seen a lot of people carry, just, myself included, is that you want to change in a very short period of time, or you feel like you're not changing enough. You want to be this, you know, you want to be this icon or this being that's otherworldly that you feel like you can't attain. And then it gets to the point where I'm not changing enough. My mindset isn't changing enough. The things that I'm doing every day isn't changing enough. I still go back to the same exact stuff that I was doing previously. And we don't think that we're changing. That is where context in your past is amazing and it's important. We should know how we felt in the past and we should know how we are constantly growing. It's not like a linear line as people think that's just like going shoop, it's going straight up. It's not like that at all. You know, I hate to use like the roller coaster analogy, but it's pretty similar to the roller coaster analogy. You have like ooh, ooh, ooh. It's not like it's not a straight line. Sometimes we change for the good, sometimes we change for the bad. But for the most part, you have to acknowledge that most of your changes are for probably a proper reason, you know? And it's crazy how, for the most part, you can't really guess change too much. I mean, a lot of you guys can just go back to like younger versions of yourself. You probably couldn't even guess, your younger version probably couldn't have even guessed of the combination of changes that have happened to your life that makes you into the present person that you are today. And again, it's not really linear. No one is just doing very well, doing very well, doing very well, doing very well, and that's it. You have to struggle. Without struggling, there really is no change and there really is no getting better. You have to do bad and you have to be around a lot of the ugly. I mean, it's just hard to change if we're not willing to just face the ugly. It's really hard. And just not being able to change and not being willing to change just because you don't want to face, you know, the ugly world or just this very uncomfortable moment or just this, this idea that scares the hell out of you. It's bad. It's not really what you're supposed to do. It's normal and everyone feels that way, but you shouldn't really be inclined to not changing. You shouldn't really be inclined not to change just because you are scared of change. It's, you know, change doesn't necessarily have to be this overnight success that you have. It's this gradual feeling of doing better and better and better. You are not going to be this person that you want to be in the matter of days, weeks, months, and sometimes, I'm going to be honest, even years. But the fact that you can have yourself noted from your past, or you can know the way that you were feeling in the past, and if you can relate to yourself in the past, that shows change. I think this entire practice of being, of hearing yourself out from the past and making your present self, be shown to your future is very prevalent in like journaling or just, doing something where you can write down your thoughts and write down the way that you're thinking so your future self can see that, relate to that if they can relate to it at all, and just realize that they are changing. Because most change that we acknowledge as people is just physical. You know, I have so many old pictures of myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I used to think so different when I looked that way. But also, I think about like, recent pictures and I'm like, oh, no, I guess it was like it was very, I probably thought very similar as I did in those pictures. And then I look back into like old journaling I used to have around the same date. My ideology and my beliefs and values and just things have changed just due to life, just life moving on. I did not have to physically look different for me to have, be thinking differently. It was just me as a person moving. It didn't even need like a physical kind of way. It's very beautiful just to know that you are changing for the better each period of time. And it sucks when you think that it's not that you're really not changing for the good and you're not changing enough. If you don't keep this record of yourself from your old past, I'd like to think that it's almost like a lot of it has died. You know, if we can't go back into the past and just understand the situation that we were in previously, to be in the mind of the situation that we were in before, it's kind of like it almost never happened. To an extent, there are these like crazy scenarios where it's kind of hard to forget. It'd be insane to even forget those scenarios. But for the most part, your very small issues and your very small things that you had to overcome, if you don't necessarily write it down or even just speak your mind about it, it's going to be harder to avoid that you know, in the well going future because as soon as you're out of that situation, for the most part, for those, smaller situations, you're not going to really think about it too much anymore. And if anything, if we're if bad things or if we mess up and we're not really moving forward and are not really changing from those situations, then what's the point of messing up? You know, what's the point of like, doing better if when we mess up, We're not just, trying to better ourselves. We're not trying to look past our mistakes and just look for where we entirely messed up. It's a lot of an ego thing, you know, how we don't really want to change and we just want to like be this perfect version of ourselves. We're striving for this, we're striving for that, but we don't really want to change too much. You know, I worded that terribly. We think that it's kind of an ego thing where people think that they are already that insane version of themselves and that change is not too much. A lot of it is with like the older generation of people. You get really old and you're like, ugh, I'm already like this age and change is just, why should I change? I'm already this old anyway. It's a very dumb way of thinking because you are, even no matter how old you are, you're constantly just growing as people. You're just constantly growing. There's no like stop to change. You're just changing. It doesn't end just because like you reach the age of like, let's say like 40 or something. You're still going. You know, journaling and just, you know, being able to rot out your mind is not just there for not just there to speak your mind and put it in like a book or in your like, in a place where you can write down your notes. It's also there just so you can look into it again in a previous time and just awaken that feeling that you had before, in order to maybe spark that old feeling, or maybe just to realize how much pain something has brought to you and how much it would suck to not bring it up again. And that's what I think change is. Thank you for your time. I don't even know what I was going for that.